he's eventually going to be able to do it again. So just throwing him out there. I remember in the first month or a month and a half in the season, we put him in 3 straight games with the bases loaded. 2 of them, he got out without giving up an uninherited run. One of them, he gave up like a single or something like that, or a double. That was it. But he was really good for a long time. So I think that he just needs to get back into the swing of things, kind of like Kimbrel, only Kimbrel's not letting it get as bad as Kelly is. But just like you said about Thornburg, I think he's totally trending up the right direction. And they made that mechanical adjustment, which if you look at Sale this year, look what that little thing did for him. And I think the pitching coach has been great with the pitchers this year. I think Thornburg's going to be a 7th and 8th inning guy no matter what in the playoffs if Kelly's good or not. So I would love to work Thornburg into the 8th inning a little bit more. And yeah, I think Kelly, like today would have been a nice Kelly day. Up 5-0 early, probably going to continue staying that long, throw him in when we're up or down. I agree. I think he needs some time. Maybe not every high leverage situation. I don't think he needs like a Phantom DL situation, but I think he does need to, get the confidence back a little bit.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I'm not saying I'm giving up on him. I think the talent is there, and it's just a matter of figuring out how to utilize him so that he doesn't fall off a cliff or whatever. And I just don't want to see him in high leverage situations until he can demonstrate, for at least a 3, 4, 5 game stretch that, okay, he's getting guys out and he seems to have everything under control. And there's just like 4 or 5 better options right now in a high leverage situation than him. And I just rather him figure it out. And I like Joe Kelly, so, I want him to be successful. And if he gets back to the way he was in April and May, and like you said, coming in with the bases loaded just to get that one more out, that's totally cool. I don't want to see it. I mean, we could be up 6.5 games on the Yankees. It would have been 7 tonight. And last year in September kind of looms large. Everybody was tired, and we, on September 15th, we're like, oh yeah, we got this. We are going to coast into the month of October. And then the last week of the season, we're like, oh my God, Sale might have to pitch game 162. And I don't want to get into a situation like that. Like, I don't want to give any more free wins away because, like I said, it's almost August and you're in a race now. And the leashes on certain people might need to be a little shorter than they were back then. So,
yeah, no, I agree. I think that, obviously our health and just stamina needs to be there in September. And, there are other good options there right now. And I think Cora has been mixing him in, and I think he'll get Kelly in there. And I think the next couple of days will be a good break for him. And hopefully we beat up on Minnesota a little bit so we can get in those non-high leverage situations. When it comes to getting the days off and everything like that, I read a stat saying that this is the lowest amount of pitches that Sale's ever thrown in his career at this point.
Yeah.
So that's a real sign.
Well, he hasn't. I don't know if they've really skipped him a start, but they're just being smart late in games.
Yeah, they haven't skipped him yet. They're just managing him.
Yeah.
So
there's no extra innings this year. Basically, he's
right.
not going to go out there when he's already got 95 pitches in and go throw another one.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite things that they're doing with Sale is that he will be in that situation, right? Also, he'll be 95 in the 6th inning. He'll go out for the 7th, and as soon as he gives up a hit, he's out. It doesn't matter if it's 6 2/3, 6 1/3, first batter, first pitch. As soon as he gives up, he's out. He might go 105 pitches that day, but he'll get that extra inning, and it's like, okay, he didn't strain himself too much. The extra 10 pitches, I'm okay with it. If he's at 90 and they're up 5, he's not going back out there this year. If he's at 100 and it's going into the 7th inning, he's not going back out. If it's in the 90s, he'll go back out for an out. I like how they're managing him. If we were healthy, I still think that they make the trade for Eovaldi and either use him in the bullpen or move right in the bullpen or something. And I think that you do see a skip start from Sale there eventually, right? And maybe if we do get healthy, if Wright comes back or Erod comes back first and Eovaldi's pitching well, then, you can say, all right, one of those scheduled losses, it's kind of like obviously that was a joke on Twitter, but it's almost like a thing. You look at, when the NFL schedule comes out every year, you look at certain games, you look at like a back-to-back short week Thursday night, who are they playing, where are they traveling? Okay, that's probably a loss. You look at, big long road trips. Oh, they're facing Mania after a 12-game, West Coast swing, probably going to lose that one. So last night being one of those, is kind of like what I'm saying is that Pomeranz's out, and you'll probably see another one of those later in the year with Sale getting scratched for no reason other than rest, and having Velasquez go up again. I don't even know who. The Mariners? I mean, not the Mariners, the Miami Marlins, something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe Erod's back by then, and you just have really good depth again, or, Johnson or whoever, If we can maintain, a 5 to 7 game lead on New York, that's huge, and that gives you the flexibility to do that. Because I do believe, like, I get on Cora for resting, position players and whatnot, but I do put a lot of value into that with starting pitching. So you won't, unless he's doing it with like a game lead or whatever, and it's like an awful matchup. That's the only way I'm going to complain about it. In the month of September.
Yeah, like the Yankees start against Severino. It's like, oh, he's scratched. Yeah, I'd be pissed about that too.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying, and I agree. I think it'll do all right, and I think we will get healthy again, and I think we're going to make another trade too. Whether I don't know what arm it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be relief pitcher. I don't know if it's going to be starting pitcher, but we'll make another move for an arm. At this point, they're going to go arm over bat because of all the injuries and because of the bottom of the lineup being okay as of late, I guess I would say, with Devers being okay. And JBJ's been red hot the last month. And then Sandy's been trending down. Nunez's been trending down. Holt's kind of hanging out. So I think they're just hoping that if that kind of trends continue, where it's like Sandy can be okay, JBJ can kind of get hot again, they'll take what they can get from Nunez and Holt and just kind of roll with it.
Yeah, well, I think we're done as far as starting pitching goes. I think if a pitcher is going to be brought in, I do think it's going to be a reliever. And, I mean, every day we're seeing that we're connected to some reliever somewhere. So I strongly think that's what's going to happen. And if we can get another bat, a power bat in the to plug into the 6 to 8 hole range, then that would be a huge bonus, I feel like. What's that?
Like a Brian Dozier?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that would be him, but I mean, I would certainly take him if it worked out that way. Absolutely, and we'll get a good look at him. Starting tomorrow, actually. So.
Yeah, he's been trending down this year and having an off year, and this is going to be a nice tryout for him.
Yeah.
On the subject of Jalen Beeks, right? If you think about it, he's actually in the perfect situation in Tampa. Tampa breeds pitching, and he is going to come out of that system with an absolutely nasty changeup. So, if anything, the Sox did him a favor.
Probably, yeah.
And he'll actually get to play. First of all, he'll actually make real money for this year because they're going to keep him on the 40-man roster out there. So he'll make real money, which is great for him. And on top of it, he'll develop as well. And he's got like a 93-mile-an-hour fastball, I think. I don't think it's going to get much faster than that. But his change is going to get nasty. His movement's going to be sick, and he'll be a good player. And for us, I mean, we got the depth that we needed. He's only making $2 million. He's coming off Tommy John. He might have had 2 Tommy Johns. I can't remember.
He did have 2, yeah.
He did. Yeah. I mean, only 28 for 2 Tommy Johns, which is scary. But at the same time, he's pitched well every time. And another great year this year, only making $2 million. And he only made $2 million last year. Who's to say you can't sign him for $2, $3, $4 million again next year and have crazy depth? And if a guy like Wright, is hurt or not working out, the knuckleballs have knuckling, he's in the bullpen, your starting 5 next year could be Sale, Porcello, Price, Erod, and Eovaldi, which is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
It could be. And when the trade got announced today, I erroneously thought he was a reliever. And I don't recall watching him pitch against us this year. And there's just a lot of weird things going on with that organization analytically where they're starting games with relievers now. And so from afar, I definitely got tripped up. He is coming off his second Tommy John, like we were just saying, and he actually had a torn flexor tendon as well that was torn completely off the bone this time. So it was a pretty intense, set of injuries he had. And I remember when he had Tommy John because he was still pitching for the Yankees, and he started a game, got it was a 1-2-3 first inning, and it was mostly like pop flies or whatever. And all of a sudden, he left the game. They said he left the game due to injury, and then the next day, that's when they say, yeah, he's got a torn UCL and a torn flexor tendon, and he's not going to be back until 2018. And this was back in 2016 when it all went down. So I was thinking, geez. So that was another reason I just thought he might be coming out of the pen down there with them. And let me just say what I think about it, and we'll get you guys' complete reaction to it. I'm not as excited as a lot of other people. I mean, we definitely need a back-end starter, so I'm not saying it's the worst thing ever, but he is a career 422 guy. His career whip is 135, which is pretty high. He's only been, other than his rookie year, he's only had a sub-4 ERA just once. That was in 2013. He had a 3.39 ERA. 2015 with the Yankees, he was 14-3. That sounds good, but he had a 4.20 ERA. So must have been a lot of run support. They do say he's got a consistent 98 mile an hour fastball. I guess he's in the top 15 in Major League Baseball right now for the fastest average fastball, and I guess his walk to strikeout ratio is really good, and his whip is especially good this year. So maybe you kind of catch lightning in a bottle here, and he just pitches extremely well. But I don't think he's the impact guy. And like I was saying in the past few episodes, there's a guy you bring in to help get you into the postseason, but there's other guys you can bring in that get you to the postseason and then can make an impact in the postseason. And I don't think he's an impact guy once you get to October. He's just, at that point, a depth guy. Maybe like a Charlie Morton from last year, where he comes out of the pen and he can give you, 3 or 4 solid innings. Kind of like what I'm hoping David Price is going to end up doing, but who knows. Dave, how did you feel about it, like all the way through?
Well, I actually love it, and I think it's something that helps us now and in the playoffs. And I think that I'm with you on the last part there to jump a little bit, but I want David Price in the bullpen in the playoffs, and I think that, gun-to-head situation, if everybody was healthy, I would take Sale, Porcello, Erod, and have Price available for Porcello and Erod starts on the pen and be an Andrew Miller, Charlie Morton type of player. But obviously with all these injuries now, you need Price. But with Eovaldi coming in, it gives you the option of pushing Price back into the pen and having him be your third starter. I think that if you look at his career, he's had 2 Tommy Johns, which means his elbow has been right twice during games and seasons. And if it's not right and it's a little bit off, like it was in that start in 2016 where he was, that whole year, he threw 124 innings that year. So he's pitching the whole year with basically his UCL held together by duct tape. It was just basically just about to come off, and it finally did. And he took himself out of the game. Obviously, he was like, this is bad. But he's been through 3 different organizations, and 3 different organizations that 2 of them don't develop pitching. You had New York, which doesn't develop pitching. Pitching goes to New York and then just happens. Severino is a new age in them, but back in 2014, 15, 16, they weren't developing pitching. He was in Miami, which doesn't develop really much of anything anymore. And the only pitcher that they really developed out there was Jose Fernandez, who was gifted and didn't need any development anyway. And before that, he was in L.A., which has developed a few, like Kershaw and stuff like that. But he only was there for, a cup of coffee. He started 20 games in 2 seasons. So I think he landed in Tampa, healthy. He started May 30th this year, was his first start coming back off Tommy John. He's had a top 5 in whip in the American League since coming in on May 30th, up there in the same talks as Chris Sale. You talked about how good his whip's been this year. His ERA's been up. He has come into the Porcello effect, where he's had a couple games where he got blown up. One against the Twins recently, he got beat up for a bunch of runs and kind of, made his ERA go up pretty high. But he was in a pitching staff that develops and works with pitchers very well in Tampa Bay. He's coming to Boston, where the new pitching coach and the new manager have been working wonders with their pitchers. pitch counts, with mechanical issues, and little nitpicking. So I think that he's